everyone. Welcome to the Industry Insider webinar series by GoAway. Today, Yucatan. Now, many people, when they hear that word, will think immediately of the Caribbean coast, I guess it is, with Cancun and Tulum, with all the resorts. That's actually technically not, well, it is, it's Yucatan Peninsula, and we'll get into that clarification in a minute. But we're not talking about that part of the Yucatan today. We're talking about Yucatan state. Now, there are 31 states in Mexico, including or in addition to Mexico City. And we are talking about the state of Yucatan today. And my guest, Lizzie Cole, will introduce you formally in a moment. We'll talk us through all that. So you have the Yucatan state, as I mentioned. We're talking about that today. You have the Yucatan Peninsula, which runs in the area. And I'm sure Lizzie in her presentation will have a map. But the peninsula runs from what most people know all the way down into northern Guatemala and Belize. And then you have what I started the introduction with, the Yucatan, or what in general terms, Yucatan, which most people think of the Mayan Riviera. We're not talking about that. So my guest today is Lizzie Cole from Tourism Yucatan. So welcome, Lizzie.
Thank you, Don. Thank you. Pleasure to be here with you today.
Great to have you here. Whereabouts, I assume that you are in the Yucatan yourself right now, or are you in Mexico City?
No, I'm in Mérida, Yucatan. Mérida is the capital city. Mm-hmm.
Okay, so you are literally in the heart of Yucatan.
Exactly.
So can you, as I sort of fumbled a little bit there, can you clarify what we're talking about today in regards to state versus region versus famous Riviera coast?
Yes, of course. The Yucatan Peninsula is divided in 3 different states. On the Caribbean coast, we have Quintana Roo, which is where Cancun, Riviera Maya, and Tulum are located. On the Gulf Coast is Campeche. And in the middle of those 2 states, it's like a slice of pie, is Yucatan. You will see it in the map later.
Yes, and the map will coming up. And the Yucatan is also the area. Now, I don't know how to pronounce the word properly because I think it's mine from origin, is where the meteor struck 66 million years ago and supposedly wiped out the dinosaurs. So it's all within this region that you have Yucatan State and Yucatan Peninsula. Another aspect of Yucatan, for anyone who's into Hollywood and movies, may have seen the film Apocalypto by Mel Gibson, which is based loosely, historically that is, around the Mayan culture. The timeline is very off for a whole lot of reasons. But it gives a very good representation of what things could have been like at the time. And I think a lot of it was filmed in the Yucatan area. Is that correct? Or the peninsula?
Not really. No, not really.
Oh, okay. Well, I stand corrected on that one. I thought it was. I did read
some
it was
some takes of it, some scenes of it were.
So my point there is, though, that the Yucatan Peninsula and by extension the Yucatan State is very, very rich in ancient histories, Mayan history, and a lot of that is still visible today, which I will let Lizzie expand on as we get into it. So you have literally at your doorstep a living culture within the Yucatan State, Yucatan Peninsula. And I believe I did some reading before. I like my history, those people who know my podcasts and webinars. I think it was up until like the 1901, I think the federal government reclaimed what was an independent state down there, which was controlled or dominated, whatever term you use, by the indigenous population of the time, which leads to my point that visiting the Yucatan is literally immersing yourself into a current day living ancient civilization and culture, and not just a historical one. I guess, Liz, it's probably easier if we let you present first me asking you questions, because I may ask questions which we'll cover in your presentation. So is there anything else you'd like to say before you lead into the presentation?
Yeah, of course. First, well, thank you for this opportunity and to have the chance to talk to the audience about everything that the Yucatan has to offer to visitors. So we're very happy to be here and be able to do this. So thanks to you, Don, and to Galway for allowing this to happen.
Well, it's our pleasure, because one thing that I think Mexico struggles from, as other big countries in Latin America, is that it's famed for the, basically the Mayan Rivera, Cancun, and that whole stretch, because so many people think of that when they think of Mexico, which is part of Mexico without a doubt.
Yes.
But there's so much more to Mexico as a country, let alone the state of Yucatan, than what people may think. And I'm glad we're doing a focus on the state of Yucatan, because, in full disclosure, I actually own a place. My wife and I do those. I own a place in Mexico, not in Yucatan. We're down in the state of Oaxaca.
Okay. Beautiful
Puerto
area as well.
It is beautiful there, Puerto Escondido. I've driven through Mexico as a country many times as a tour guide back in the day. And it is, as a country, there's so much more to it than what most people would think of initially. And of course, literally next door to where a lot of people will go to or think of first off is the state and the region of Yucatan Peninsula, which Lizzie will now expand on and show you why you should get away from the norm, basically, and start exploring nearby Yucatan state itself. So, Lizzie, on that note, I'll pass the webinar over to you and your presentation, please.
Yeah, of course. First, well, thank you for this opportunity and to have the chance to talk to the audience about everything that the Yucatan has to offer to visitors. So we're very happy to be here and be able to do this. So thanks to you, Don, and to Galway for allowing this to happen. Yucatan is in the heart of the Maya civilization. Yucatan has 18 archaeological sites, Yucatan state alone. And this is the place, as you mentioned before, where the meteorite that caused the extinction of the dinosaurs landed in this area. More than 3,000 cenotes, sinkholes, are located in this area. A tourist experience for each day of the year is available, and summer all year round. Our temperatures range from 60.8 to a maximum of 104 Fahrenheit. I'll show you in the map where we are. As you can see, this is the map of the Yucatan Peninsula. Located here in the Caribbean coast, we have the state of Quintana Roo, and this is where Cancun, Riviera Maya, and Tulum are located. And on the Gulf Coast, on the other side, is Campeche. And in the heart of the Yucatan Peninsula is our state, our beautiful state of Yucatan. We have divided the state in two strategic vacation hubs. First is Mérida. This is where the capital city is located, and this is where a concentration of the largest number of hotels is as well. And Valladolid, which is another beautiful city, we will talk about it later, is another strategic hub that also has a large concentration of lodging opportunities, and also where Chichen Itza is located. Chichen Itza, as we will mention later, is very well known to visitors to Cancun and Riviera Maya as well. We also have here the port of Progreso. So moving on, we talk about our capital city. Mérida is a jewel. It's a beautiful colonial city. Its downtown reminds us of the colonial times. It has a beautiful cathedral and main square, the Plaza Grande. We have the cathedral, as I said, and Casa Montejo, and so much more to see. You can feel the history while you're walking the streets. Mérida City just turned 485 years old. So as you can see, there's almost, over 4 centuries, almost 5 centuries of history as a city. There's always something to do in Mérida, somewhere to go. And also, this is the area, if you move around the main square, you will see Paseo de Montejo. Paseo de Montejo is this beautiful avenue that was created trying to look like the main avenues in cities like Paris. And you can see European style mansions that were built during the 17 and 1800s. This is an area that is very safe. We are very proud of our capital city as such a large, beautiful, modern, and vibrant city with this historical and cultural background, but also a very safe area for people to walk around at all hours during the day or the night. And feeling safe, I think, is one of the top priorities of our visitors. So moving on, we do have a large offering of hotels, very different type of lodging options. We have colonial boutique hotels that take us back to the 1800s, where these mansions that I was saying before turned into beautiful boutique hotels, preserving the atmosphere of the way the people live back in those days. These beautiful mansions, almost castle-like houses, now turn into lodging properties. Also, we have small boutique hotels, very modern, like the one we see on the screen. These boutique hotels have brought Merida a very interesting mix of lodging opportunities. You can stay in one of these hotels and walk around the city and enjoy what the city has to offer, at the same time staying in a small place that provides you with all the comforts and luxury that you are used to. So these are, of course, we also have different type of hotels, like the regular hotels like Hyatt, Fiesta Americana Hotel, and the Camino Real, Crown Plaza, Marriott's, like that. We also have that. So depending on what you're looking for, you will find a hotel that suits your style and your budget as well. What we offer in Yucatan, and that has been very attractive to visitors, is the unique culinary experiences. In Yucatan, food becomes an experience, including all kinds of private activities. We have tours of cantinas, which are like little bars that people used to go in the old days of the past century. Now there are tours. You can go to the cantina, have a beer. The beer is always accompanied by some snacks, very local snacks that are usually included for free. We have gastronomic tours, cooking classes, and honey tastings. It's important to mention that in Yucatan, the honey produced by the bees in Yucatan is one of very high quality. It's something that people come to see, especially the Melipona bee. The Melipona bee is a very unique bee that doesn't have a sting. It's very fragile, and it produces super high quality honey that is used for healing purposes and also is exported for skincare by premium brands in Europe as well. So here also, another thing that makes us famous and that people come to see is the cenotes. The cenotes are these sacred natural wonders of the Maya civilization. These are sinkholes, and for the luxury travelers, select cenotes offer exclusive private access for a truly serene and intimate experience. So whether it's for a refreshing swim or a romantic candlelit dinner, or if you want just to meditate and enjoy being there in touch with nature, it's important to mention that cenotes are not like lagoons or pools. These are connected on the ground to one of the largest or the largest underground river system in the world. So all of these cenotes are connected underground. In Yucatan, in the whole peninsula, we do not have rivers, we have cenotes. These were considered sacred by the Maya because they were the only source of fresh water, and also because they considered them to be the entrance to the underworld. And now we come to talk about the Yucatan's haciendas. In the 17th and 18th century, these haciendas became very popular. What happened is that the people living in Yucatan discovered that they have something the world needed, which was henequen. Henequen, it's a fiber that comes from a plant that looks very much like the plant from where tequila comes from. It's an agave type of plant. And this plant was very abundant here. So they had these big plantations of henequen, also called sisal. And they had this operation because these fibers were needed to produce the ropes of the ships. So the export business that was created in Yucatan with Europe, sending the ropes for the ships to all of Europe, made these people very, very rich. So they created these mansions in the city of Merida that we spoke about before, but also they had these haciendas, which were like plantation houses that they had in their, when they had to go and overview their crops and their fields. And these are nestled in the outside of the city, also surrounded by lush lowland rainforest and these magnificent properties. Many of these are now luxury hotels. Also, these are great venues for events like weddings, destination weddings. These are such a perfect background for something like that, corporate retreats, and just to stay there and, you know, feel the atmosphere of what the hacienda life used to look like back in the 17th and 18th century. So we also have many people come to Merida or to Yucatan to about food, about the cenotes, about the archaeological sites, but they don't realize we also have an amazing coastline. We have pristine paradise beaches, soft white sands, emerald waters, and untouched ecosystems. These set the stage for refined relaxation. We have boutique beachfront hotels. We do not have any all-inclusive hotels in our coastlines, but this is what also makes them very attractive for travelers looking to find a peaceful retreat, and they explore locations that are such beautiful places, such as the one we've seen here. Also, we have the colonial towns. In Yucatan, you can find 7 magic towns, but in some of them are really, truly magical. Mexico as a country has this denomination of some towns that stand out either for cultural, architectural, or historic reasons. And in Yucatan, we have 7 of those. This one shown in the screen is Izamal, the yellow town. All the town is in this color. Every house, every building is in this color. And this is the atrium of a convent that has the largest atrium in all of Latin America. This is Izamal. We also have Mani, Tecash, Sisal, which is an ecotourism lover's paradise, and some other magic towns as well. So the Maya villages are all around Yucatan. It's something that was mentioned before is that we have the living culture of the Maya. The Maya people that for many years, people thought that you come to see the archaeological sites and you wonder what happened to the Maya. Well, nothing happened to them. They are here. They're living. They live in all of the cities in Yucatan and in the little villages. Especially in the villages, you can visit them and you can see that they they have their same traditions. They're very proud of their culture, their history, and they still speak the language. The Maya language is widely spoken in the Yucatan. Some of these villages have won awards for community tourism experiences, and we have several of those. This is an example, Mayan village of Shanayag. This place has won an award at WTM for Responsible Tourism Awards Latin America because you can visit them and you can actually spend the day living like they live every day. You will be taken to different houses, see the people that make the embroidery, the ladies making their beautiful embroideries, and then you can see how they prepare your lunch and they can explain the recipes and you can see how they live every day respecting their ancestral heritage. Also in San Crisanto, which is an Ejido community association, they won first prize in last year in ITB Berlin because of the way they have created a form of protecting the mangrove. They are a coastline village and they are surrounded by mangroves, and now they have grown the mangrove and have successfully create a way of life that at the same time preserves the mangroves in their community. Now they're selling carbon bonds, and they are creating a way of life that allows them to stay put in their village and make it a successful story. This is really amazing. And then we go see the archaeological site. This is the city of Uxmal. Uxmal is one of the most significant archaeological sites. It's less visited than Chichen Itza because it's farther away from Cancun, Riviera Maya. So many people that come to the Yucatan go to visit Chichen Itza, which is great. It's one of the 7 wonders of the world. But in my opinion, Uxmal is definitely a place you have to visit. This is the site that along you can find the Puuk route, recognized as a UNESCO World Heritage Site. It stands out because of its intricate architecture. This has a very harmonious design, and you can see the lines of the pyramid are rounded, not sharp like in usual you can see in the pyramids. So the exceptional preservation of this structure makes of Uxmal a must see. We come then to Valladolid. Valladolid is also one of our magic towns, and it's a colonial city. It's beautiful. It has a privileged location. It's located between Mérida and Cancun. So if you're in Cancun, you're about an hour and 45 minutes away from Valladolid if you're driving, or a couple of hours if you take the Maya train or a bus. So this is a city that you have to visit and feel. It's an excellent hub. They have very nice hotels, especially in the last few years. They have developed these luxury retreats and even a very luxurious glamping site right outside the city. It has all the colonial charm. It has the colonial mansions. It has the convent, the cathedral, and there's video mapping on the cathedral and also at the convent that you can enjoy at night. So we say that Valladolid has 3 different airports because you can visit Valladolid if you arrive in Cancun or in Tulum airports, or if you arrive in Mérida International Airport as well. So it's a city that is strategically located and will allow for uh, have access easily for all the people that visit our neighbor state of Quintana Roo. Also in Yucatan, you see wellness. Wellness is all over. And wellness for the Maya is a way of life. It's not just some treatments that you have. Here, you can find in the villages around the different areas of the state, you can find different activities that involve wellness. Wellness as therapies, as yoga, as massages. The healers of the village, they provide aromatherapy, beauty treatments, some rituals, and in the jungle and the cenotes and all these special biodiversity create the best setting for a wellness retreat. This is a place where you can enjoy different things. Also with the bees, I mentioned before the Melipona bees, and you can visit the place when the people raise these bees and protect them. And they also have all these products that allow you to get the benefits of this very special honey that they produce. And now let's go to a place that is so, so beautiful. Yucatan in pink. We have the flamingos in Yucatan. Almost throughout the year, you can see flamingos in Rio Lagartos, in Celestún, in Las Coloradas. Las Coloradas are the pink lake. This is a truly unique natural wonder where vibrant pink waters create a surreal and unforgettable landscape. This is a salt bank, and there's a microorganism that lives in the salt, and with the sunlight, it turns the water pink, the same way that it turns the flamingos pink because they eat this microorganism. Rio Lagartos offers a pristine nature experience, perfect for bird watching, especially the pink flamingos. So visiting this area of the coastline of Yucatan will provide you with some sunsets and images that you will never forget. These are really outstanding. Also, of course, Chichen Itza. As I said, Chichen Itza is about 2 hours from Cancun if you're driving, and about the same time if you're driving from Merida. A little less, maybe an hour and 40 minutes. Chichen Itza is the most iconic Mayan city in the world. It's a UNESCO World Heritage Site and is the most visited archaeological site in all of Latin America. No other site receives as many visitors. So be amazed about this impressive creation, the Pyramid of Kukulkan, and of course, you also can enjoy the light and sound show in the evenings. So I've shown you so many things about Yucatan in a nutshell, because of course we don't have the time to talk so much about everything that's happening here, the modern side of the cities, the modern cuisine, the people that now are doing incredible things with the ingredients that you can only find in this area, and provide you with a culinary experience that you will never forget. These are really interesting, but also what sets us apart from everywhere else is our people, the essence of warmth and hospitality that you get here. People are nice, warm, welcoming. They want you to visit. They want to share with you their experience from their culture, the history of the cities, the knowledge of their ancestors, and this is something that is truly, truly special. So with that, I will say thank you, and I hope you have enjoyed this presentation. Especially, I will hope that you come and visit Yucatan, because there's a lot more to see and do in our area, and I'm sure you will enjoy it.
Excellent, Lucy. Thank you very much for that. I've been lucky enough to have traveled through again, Mexico top to bottom, and through the Yucatan state and peninsula many times. And I think what I pick up from your presentation in particular, and it's something that's very close to my heart from all countries, but particularly for this region of Mexico, is that what you can experience in Yucatan is a different type of Mexico than people may be aware of, and it's the real Mexico. To Mexico's credit, their marketing has been exceptionally good for areas, like the Yucatan coast and Riviera Maya. But that's not Mexico. It really isn't. It's a capsule with some beautiful beaches and the occasional visit into the interior. And as an example, talking sort of old war stories, when I was a tour guide there, we didn't visit Cancun back in the day. It wasn't on our radar for the type of trips. But we did go in and we visit Tulum. And we go through the Yucatan and Quintero and all those areas. And we went to Uxmal, which I agree with you. I think you don't want to say better than, but I think it's a better experience than Chichen Itza, even back in the day. But my point is, we would camp and we would drive into Tulum early in the morning, about when the gates open, 8 o'clock or so. For those who don't know, Tulum is a set of ruins, Mayan ruins, right on the coast, famous for beautiful white sandy beaches, etc. So we'd go in, our group would do its visit, they'd spend some time on the beach, and when we'd come out at about lunchtime-ish, the car park, which was empty when we arrived, was now completely full of buses which had come down from Cancun. At the time, there was a dual carriageway, motorway, expressway being built from Cancun down to Tulum. This is how long ago I was there. And where we camped was up the coast, and there was nothing there, like nothing. And I went back to Mexico, I can't remember whether it was pre-COVID or just after COVID, and I self-drove around the area, which I highly recommend, particularly in the Yucatan state. It's flat, it's easy, the roads are good, the driving is wonderful, car rental's easy, highly recommend it. And with all the other ruins in the state, it's great to go exploring. But I self-drove, and I drove from Cancun down to Tulum, and it was just wall-to-wall super resorts, mega resorts everywhere. And it's good. Like, obviously Mexico has done well. It's been very, very prosperous. But I go back to my original point. In my humble opinion, that's not what Mexico is about. Mexico is about everything that Lizzie's just discussed with respect to Yucatan. So I wanted to just, Lizzie, go over a few points that you brought up. As I just went on there, the Maya Riviera is very, very crowded. You have cruise ships coming in, flights coming in directly from all over the US and Canada into Cancun. You now mentioned an airport in Tulum, which I wasn't aware of. Mm-hmm. So how does Yucatan state, you did touch on this briefly, but I'd like to go into more details. From a crowd situation, the state itself, probably excluding Chichen Itza, which is, as you say, the most visited ruins in Latin America, is it a quieter experience if someone chooses to go into Yucatan state?
Yeah, well, of course, it's absolutely a more relaxed experience and less crowded. To give you an idea, we only have 7,500 hotel rooms statewide compared to 120,000 that Quintana Roo has. So yeah, that will give you a scope of, the numbers of visitors. Yes, we have so much to be explored, and even in the city that it's a 1 million people city, is a vibrant city, it's a busy city, but still, if you walk in the areas, you will see that it's also a city where you can walk and you can enjoy, and there may be some people walking along in the middle of the city, but you will never feel overcrowded. The beach areas are very quiet and tranquil. One of the hot spots that's becoming very popular as an early days Tulum is Cuyo, El Cuyo. El Cuyo is located, I mentioned Coloradas and Rio Lagartos, and is in that area. It's closer to the border of Quintana Roo. So The water there is beautiful. There's a white sand beach, and El Cuyo is just a small town, has a few boutique hotels, and it's that kind of experience you just described of Tulum the first time you visited. Very laid back, nothing fancy, great little spots to eat. And this is what Yucatan is all about. Great food, great time, safety, as you said, and this is something that we point out. It's easy to move around on your own if you want to, because everywhere is well signaled. And also, if you stop anywhere and ask directions, people will help you.
You mentioned the airport of Tulum, of course, Cancun, and the international airport in Merida itself. So if someone is looking to get to the Yucatan state and they are not looking at the coastal areas, Quintana Roo, I assume there are direct flights into Merida from the US and Canada, or just the US?
We have a direct flights from Houston, Dallas, Orlando, and Miami. Also, we have a seasonal flight from LA to Merida that will become at least once a week regular flight by the end of this year, maybe by September, October. And from Canada, we have a flight from Toronto that is seasonal. We have 3 flights a week. They start at the end of October and run through early April. So for the winter time, Canadians flock our area. Really, we are so happy that this is working so well. People love to come here from Canada. They either stay at hotels or rent places, and some of them have properties and just stay here for a month or 2 months. And so we are welcoming visitors from Canada. We would love to have this flight stay as a regular flight. So that's where we need your help and the help of all Canadians that want to visit us in other seasons of the year.
For sure. And there is a very large expat community in Mexico in general, where we are, again, in Puerto Escondido. We are in a sort of an expat complex, but we are well away from the big town. And one of the big attractions for everyone who has either stays there short term or, as you say, have bought properties, as we have, is that we're in an area which is still old school Mexico. Like we're very close to a nearby town called Chila. And everyone loves that local interaction, that live like a local environment, which sounds like Yucatan offers on its own, but also in major juxtaposition to what you get on the Mayan Riviera. Just going back to getting there. So if someone is going down there out of Canada, particularly off season, I assume the other big gateways, as we discussed, would be Cancun, because it's a very short drive into the state of Yucatan and/or Merida. What's the drive time from Mexico City? I know it's a lot further.
It's a long drive. I would not recommend that. We have many flights coming from Mexico City to Merida a day. So there's almost a flight every hour and a half or 2 hours. So I would definitely not recommend driving the highways all the way. You're talking about a trip that will take you anywhere from 14 hours to 16 hours. So you don't want to do that.
No. Well, you don't. Yeah, you probably don't have the time to do that. It's a beautiful drive because
it is a beautiful drive. Yes, it is a beautiful drive.
Yeah, to your point, the average traveler, if we're talking the average Go-Away client, they've only got 2 weeks maybe. So, of course, you can hub into Mexico, in and out of Mexico City, obviously fly directly to Cancun, Tulum, and Merida directly on a seasonal. You mentioned there's a port on the coast of Yucatan. Is that like a port of call for the big cruise ships, or is
yes, it is.
Industrial port?
It's the port of Progreso. Progreso is one of the largest ports in Mexico. And currently, this year, we grew 42% from the year before in arrival of cruise ships. 152 cruise ships arrived last year, and that is great news for the port in the coast area of Progreso. And I think that will continue to grow this year as well, as more people are finding the area more appealing. So there are new cruise ships arriving, and cruise companies being attracted to what Yucatan has to offer.
I'm going to play devil's advocate here. Throughout your presentation, again, knowing the area and the concept of getting away from the big sites again in any country, do you think that the increase in travelers via cruise ships is going to spoil some of the stated uniqueness of the Yucatan state? Do you think you're going to get over-tourism seeping through the state?
No, I don't think we're very far from that point as of now. 152 cruise ships in the year, considering that maybe half of the people come down from the ship actually to visit the area. They disperse in different tours, activities. Some stay within the port, some visit the archaeological sites, some visit Merida. So no, as of now, we don't see a problem in terms of over tourism. We're so far away from that. And in a way, I don't see that ever happening because, as I said before, we do not have the super big all-inclusive resorts. So people coming here are looking for a different kind of experience. That is, I have to say, that is now a trend in luxury travel. Now is where people are looking for more personal experiences with immersive cultural travel and getting to know the people. And they don't want to see like a folkloric ballet. They want to touch and see the people that created that type of music and that type of costume, and see the people in our villages in their own attire that they use every day. Is not just for show. That is something unique. And I think that the state is still very wide and open. It has the opportunity to grow in number of visitors without ever feeling overcrowded.
Agreed. That is definitely a trend we're seeing here as well in regards to choice of style of travel. Definitely, people still want some luxurious accommodation appointments, but they're really seeking, at least in the world of Go Away, that more immersive, authentic experience, which bodes very, very well for Yucatan because that's what it has always offered, in my experience, and obviously is what you're trying to maintain, despite the positive economic growth through tourism in general. I'm just going to bounce around on some points here. You've mentioned the cenotes. You did say that they are sinkholes. You mentioned that the Yucatan Peninsula has no above-ground rivers. This goes all the way back, I believe, to the meteor crash and a whole lot of geological things. And I didn't know that you could have experiences where you would have a private cenote. That's pretty cool. For our listeners out there, if you do get clients asking about Yucatan and they want to do some experiences in the cenote beyond just seeing them, you can snorkel in them. And what I didn't realize at the time until I did it is you can actually dive in not all but most cenotes, because technically the average dive ticket is an open water ticket, which means you have to have sky or air above the water surface to dive. And many of the cenotes have that. So you dive in. It's not cave diving per se, but you can dive through these into the cenotes and into these passageways with air above. So you can go diving, basically, is what I'm saying, in the cenotes. And that is a fantastic experience. And they're, I think, as Lizzie said, they're everywhere, like thousands of them all over the place. From the ruins, from the Mayan ruins point of view, I think you mentioned the number. I just brought up a map as we were talking. beyond Chichen Itza, I'm just doing a quick count. There's 16 or 17 main other Mayan ruins in the Yucatan
18.
state?
18 Mayan
18. Oh,
sites, yes.
okay. So you mentioned one which we did back in the day too, Uxmal, which was fantastic. And I'm sure it's been cleared even more since I was there. What I did find, and this is, in full disclosure to our travel professionals out there, when they're talking to their clients, Chichen Itza is amazing. It's the Machu Picchu of Central America. I did not know it was the most visited ruins, and I can see why. Because again, on my trip back, when I went to Chichen, I went again, and I found it. I have to be honest, I found it crazy busy. There were so many people there. Now, I might have been there on a day that a couple of cruise ships had led. I don't know. But it had changed a lot from when I was there all those years ago, which is understandable as well. My point is you should definitely do Chichen Itza. It is, as a set of ruins, it's amazing, expansive, classical. You've got to do it if you're in the Yucatan state.
And if I may interrupt for a minute,
yes.
They just opened the old Chichen as well. So you can visit that. It was closed for many, many years. And now the Institute for Archaeological and History just reopened that area of Chichen Itza. And I always recommend, if you want to avoid the crowds, come to Valladolid, spend the night, and get early to Chichen Itza.
Yes.
If you get there early, you will miss the big buses coming in from Cancun and Riviera Maya, and you will have a totally different experience by, visiting the Chichen Itza area early morning.
Yeah, I concur with that as well. For most sites, if you can get in earlier, the better. But my point is, again, don't miss Chichen Itza by any means. It's stunning. But there are so many other opportunities to see smaller set of ruins, but much less touristed, more not authentic. They are all authentic, but that more, I guess, personal, spiritual, dare I say, experience when you're in a set of ruins. This is Guatemala, but again, I'm talking years ago. We used to visit Tikal when it wasn't as busy, and the difference when you're sort of one of few people in any set of ancient ruins is amazing. So my point is, Yucatan State, as Lizzie mentioned, has 18 other sets of ruins which you should try and get and see. And again, self-driving is another way of doing it. And of course, your hotel and GoA can help you get to all these places as well. Safety is a big thing in Mexico, it's not a big thing. It's a concern to a lot of people going to Mexico, particularly outside of the cocoon of a resort. In all my time in Mexico, going from the border states of the US all the way down, crossing into Guatemala and or Belize, I've never felt unsafe. And I was traveling through Chiapas when it was a bit scary at the time. I've felt very safe in our time, sort of I wouldn't say living in Mexico, but when we go down to our property into the local towns, safe. So I'd like to reiterate that point with our listeners again, that traveling around Yucatan State is a safe experience, not so much just in the ruins, etc., but if someone chose to self-drive and, as you say, stopping for directions, they're not going to feel threatened or anything like that. It's a welcoming country, and more to the point, the state itself is as much.
Yes. To that note, to give you an idea, Yucatan State is Yucatan and Campeche are the only two states in Mexico that are rated level 1 from the U.S. State Department. So to give you an idea, level 1, it's like no country in Europe is level 1. Mostly France, Spain, Italy, all over, it would be level 2. Mexico in general is level 2. So that gives you an idea of the level of safety that is experienced in this area. So, as you said, people driving around, walking in the downtown after hours, you go to a bar and then walk to your hotel. It is totally safe. And there are some issues and there are some concerns from travelers coming into Mexico. This is due to an overexposure of news about everything that's wrong with the country. But as you said, travelers are safe basically all over Mexico, but in particular in states like Yucatan, of course.
Yeah. News needs to be viewed that it's reporting the worst of situations or things that are flaring up. So please do not take the general perception of Mexico at face value based on the news. There are certain things you need to be wary of in certain parts of the country,
Absolutely.
any country. And again, any traveler anywhere in the world, you have to take basic precautions. I'm not saying Canada can be rough, like it's the same anywhere. But if anyone has a misperception of Mexico, I think it needs to be, what's the word? Not taken with a grain of salt. Put in perspective of
exactly
the on-ground experience. And again, personally speaking, having traveled through there as a guide and now semi-living down there, never, ever have I felt anything but safe and welcomed in all parts of Mexico. You mentioned the haciendas, which goes back to the historic aspect of Yucatan, the colonial period as well, now many of which are either up for rent or they are hotels unto themselves. And I have stayed at some of these and I've seen many of them and they are stunningly beautiful. I love the Spanish architecture. I think it's fantastic. But a very important point you brought up, particularly for Goa, having a very large groups department, is the haciendas are perfect places, as you mentioned, for weddings and or corporate events. So any of our travel professionals out there, if you are looking at groups and where to go, don't forget Mexico, and in particular, don't forget the Yucatan, because not only, again, you might think of a big resort on the Maya Rivera, but don't think of that. That's a hotel. Pretty, but go to a historical hacienda and have your wedding and or corporate event there. Are there any festivals that are famous in Yucatan State compared to other parts of Mexico that you'd like to bring up?
Yes, we have festivities throughout the year. We are full of festivities. We have the Fair of Ixmaquil, which is started as a stock fair, livestock fair. And now it becomes like every night there are concerts and music and places for kids to be entertained, and it becomes a big thing. Also, we have different celebrations in every town. The towns in Yucatan have their festivities for their saints, their patrons. So the patron festivity of each town is a party that lasts from 1 to 5 days, depending on the town and the traditions. One of the main festivities I have to mention is the Hanal Pishan. The Hanal Pishan is the Day of the Dead. In Mexico, all over, Day of the Dead is a big thing, but in Yucatan it's different. We have the Hanal Pishan. It means the food of the dead, and the people here, they set up their altars to pay homage to their departed loved ones, and they prepare a special dish that is eaten during those days, which is the mugbi pollo. The mugbi pollo, it's like a big tamal. It's not a tamal exactly, but it's like a big tamal that is prepared and cooked on the ground for hours and hours, and it's only prepared and eaten during the Day of the Dead festivities. This is very unique. And in Merida, we have the Parade of the Souls, which is a beautiful celebration that people coming to Yucatan in those days will enjoy that. It's a beautiful celebration. And in Rio Lagartos, we have a parade for the Day of the Dead, but this parade is made on boats. Little boats go through the water, all decorated, and this is very unique. So Day of the Dead is one of the celebrations I would absolutely invite people to come and enjoy.
Does Yucatan state have its own cuisine identity that would make it
Oh,
different from, say,
absolutely.
other
Absolutely.
states? Yeah.
Yes, the food here is totally different from, you see Mexican food, and the first thing that comes to your mind would be tacos, would be tamales, would be what else? Chilaquiles, if you're a little better known in Mexican cuisine. But it's important to know that Yucatan has won many awards for its cuisine. Actually, last year we were named the capital of Ibero-American colonial gastronomy. So we are holding that capital name for this year as well. So it's a 2-year period in which Yucatan is the capital of Ibero-American Colombian gastronomy. So so many chefs from Yucatan have been being awarded prizes every year in the Best Chefs Award in different celebrations of food worldwide. So coming here and tasting the traditional food, we have many restaurants where you can try. We have the markets when you can go into the market and enjoy the traditional salbute, the traditional panucho. But there are dishes that are so sophisticated, like, in my opinion, one of my favorites, the queso relleno. Have you ever eaten the stuffed cheese in Yucatan?
Yes. Yes. I didn't know it was called that, but I have eaten it. Yes.
It's a very interesting dish because the main part, the cheese, is a cheese that comes from the Netherlands, and it's very traditional in this area. So other things are the different types of the relleno negro and the cochinita pibil, which is the better known. Cochinita pibil is, I would say, it's the best known dish of the Yucatan in Mexico, and it's pig that is cooked on the ground as well. Is when you say pib in Yucatan, it means that it's cooked on the ground. And coming to a traditional restaurant, and see the how they open the ground and take the cochinita pibil out and open, and you smell the flavors, and it's steaming. Wow, that is so amazing. And you can go to these villages or in the city in some of the restaurants, so you can experience that and really enjoy traditionally prepared cochinita pibil.
Yeah, awesome. Two left field questions that just popped into my head as we were talking about it. And again, these are memories from a long time ago when I was toileting down there. But when we drove into Merida, we were told that Merida was the place to buy hammocks. I'm not sure if that's still a valid statement. Oh, there you go. So anyone out there wants to buy a hammock? I just remember there were sections of the markets which just sold hammocks of all levels, from ones that the truckers would use and they'd sling under their trucks when they're doing long haul drives, or beautiful, hand woven or made ones as well. So that's good to know. That's still part of the culture of Merida.
Well, yeah, it is part of the culture, because people still to this day sleep in hammocks. They don't need a bed. They have hammocks. So in many of the traditional houses in the little towns, you will see that people still today sleep in hammocks.
Okay. So that's been confirmed that it's still a thing, which is awesome. Now, the other thing is, we're also told if you wanted to buy, I don't know what the terminology is, but there's a certain dress shirt for men, which is very Mexican, sort of pleated down the front or whatever.
The guayabera.
There you go. We were told that in Merida that was the place to get those. Is that still a thing?
There are many places where you can, you see, Yucatan is a place of embroidery. The embroideries in
Okay.
Yucatan are amazing everywhere you go. And you can get in Merida very good guayaberas. Actually, I'm wearing a type of a guayabera. You can
There
see
you go.
the embroideries here. And, but yes, you can get the traditional guayabera in many places, very fancy one made of 100% linen and embroidered by hand. And those don't come cheap, but those are the best. But you can get all sorts of guayaberas made out of different materials and in different type of embroideries and colors. And this is a fresh, beautiful way to dress up. Like weddings in Merida, people nowadays come to a wedding in Merida, and the proper attire for men is a guayabera. You don't need a suit, okay?
Okay, that's good, because a suit in the Yucatan would be very hot, because it
Very
is
hot.
quite warm.
Very
It's
hot.
year round. Okay, so I think we'll have to wrap things up here just based on time, because as you said, we could talk for hours about all the ins and outs of Yucatan and what it offers. My takeaway, again, from experience, but hearing a more modern presentation, because I haven't spent time down there recently, is that I would classify Yucatan as I started before, a different type of Mexico, a traditional type of Mexico, a cultural part of Mexico, the real Mexico. And I highly recommend that anyone looking to this area of Mexico, where a lot of people are drawn to for the reasons we mentioned, Cancun, the Riviera, and Tulum, that even if you do that and that's your client's first choice, that they don't just hit Chichen Itza or nothing else, that they get into the heart of Yucatan. So that's people who are doing their resort stays or cruise stays. And we have to admit to our travel professionals, and we do have a lot of cruise agents out there. So when you speak to one of your cruise agents or someone doing an all-inclusive, encourage them to explore beyond Chichen Itza, get into the heart of Yucatan, because I think you'll see from our presentation today by Lizzie, there's so much more to it. However, ideally, either steer people away from that type of experience, or if someone's looking for that different Mexico, the real Mexico, as I'm classifying it, give them the Yucatan. It's got everything you want. It's got the connections to get in and out, of course. It's got culture, ancient and modern. It's got the cuisine. It's got the art. It's got the adventure activities if you want. It's got the ruined. It's got the downtime. It's got group. It's got conferencing facilities. It's got everything. And again, I go back to it being a real Mexico, and there's nothing like real Mexico. It's such a beautiful country, and the Yucatan state has so much to offer in a very, very concentrated area. So that's my little sort of roundup. Lucy, is there anything you'd like to leave our travel professionals with before we say goodbye?
Well, first and foremost, thank you for watching this, and I really, you said it perfectly. It is a great experience to come and visit. I know hundreds and hundreds of thousands of people go to Cancun, Riviera Maya, but if they take even 3 days out of that vacation to explore a little bit of Yucatan, they will go home with so much, richer experience of as a whole with that travel. So and also I would like to mention that in June of this year we will have the Key Week. The Key Week is the International Maya World Trade Fair. It's going to happen here in Merida in June from the 2nd to the 5th, and is for tourism professionals that would like to get to know more about the Maya world, both in Mexico and in the other countries of Central America that form the Maya world.
Yeah, because the Mayan culture wasn't just Mexico, as we mentioned.
Exactly. They didn't know about borders back then.
Yeah, exactly. It was just an area. Just a point that Lucy brought up there, she mentioned if someone's coming down to the Riviera, spend 3 days in the heart of Yucatan, maybe flip the script. Have people come down and spend 7 or 8 days in Yucatan and just do 3 days on the Riviera. Like, again, it's better to spend, in my opinion, more quality time seeing a real Mexico and a little bit of the, I don't want to use the word contrived because I don't think that's fair, but I think people understand what I'm getting at there. So see Real Mexico with a little bit of the, the bells and whistles on the side versus bells and whistles with a little bit of Real Mexico on the side. I think option A is a better way to go. So on that note, Lizzie, thank you very much for your time today. I really appreciate the insight you've brought to myself and to our listeners about Yucatan State and the area. And as always, to our travel professionals out there, thank you very much for your time. We know how busy you are. And until next time.
Thank you.